Good morning, and thank you to the Logistics Officer Association for inviting me to speak. I am truly honored to join you all today at such an important event. The LOA Symposium is a vital development opportunity for logistics and acquisition professionals from across the department, industry, and academia to convene and address some of the greatest challenges in modern defense logistics. As you know, the focus for this year's forum is Under Attack, Agile Logistics for the Future Fight. This theme aligns well with the mission of the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment, or ANS. Our mission is to enable the delivery and sustainment of secure and resilient capabilities to the warfighter and international partners quickly and cost-effectively. So I'd like to start off today by giving you an overview of one of the most significant steps we have taken in pursuit of that mission, and that is the rewrite of the DoD 5000 series on the Defense Acquisition System and the introduction of the Adaptive Acquisition Framework, or as we call it, the AAF. As some of you may already know, our acquisition system used to be a one-size-fits-all model. This way of doing business resulted in a checklist approach that was susceptible to prescriptive processes and rarely enabled speed. For 100 of our largest programs at that time, the medium duration from milestone B, the decision point to enter development of a product, and generally considered the start of the program, to initial operational capability was nearly 8 years. We needed to build a more lethal force and speed delivery of capability to the warfighter. In other words, DoD acquisition needs to move at the speed of relevance. We also realized that we needed to empower acquisition and sustainment professionals to think critically and tailor their strategies to quickly address warfighter needs. Despite unprecedented challenges facing the department and our nation, 2020 was an extremely productive year for our team. The Office of the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Acquisition within ANS published 13 policies as part of a comprehensive redesign of the 5000 series acquisition policies. The redesign culminated in the publication of DoD Directive 5000.01, the overarching policy that describes the principles governing the defense acquisition system. This overhaul has been the most transformational change to acquisition policy in years, and we anticipate the new policies will have enduring positive effects on the way we acquire and sustain warfighter capabilities. So the 5000 rewrite was the decomposition of a large policy document into 6 clear, distinct, and separate pathways known as the AAF. The 6 AAF pathways are urgent capability acquisition, middle tier of acquisition, major capability acquisition, software acquisition, defense business systems, and acquisition of services. By design, these pathways implement the 6 main tenets of the defense acquisition system to simplify policy, tailor in approaches, empower program managers, facilitate data-driven analysis, actively manage risk, and emphasize sustainment. In addition to each of the AAF's pathways, the 5000 series redesign includes DoD instructions for overarching functional areas. The subordinate functional areas include engineering, test and evaluation, product support management, which I will speak about in more detail in just a few moments, cybersecurity, analysis of alternatives, cost estimating, intellectual property, technical and program protection, human systems integration, acquisition intelligence, and information technology. This new approach will streamline traditional acquisition processes, providing our combatant commands and warfighters with greater lethality on the modern battlefield. One of the pathways we're most excited about is the software pathway, which is the AAF's newest policy and represents a substantial departure from the department's usual way of doing business. Given that software is central to every major DoD mission and system, we must acquire, deliver, and sustain software with greater speed, agility, and cybersecurity. Stemming from the Defense Science Board and Defense Innovation Board's Software Acquisition and Practices study, the software pathway is designed to enable continuous integration and delivery of software capabilities. Recognizing that modern software development is a continuum from development to production, and throughout sustainment, the pathway is built upon industry best practices that enable innovation and swift delivery in response to conditions of uncertainty, such as rapidly changing user needs, disruptive technologies, and threats on the battlefield. By removing procedural bottlenecks and unnecessary regulatory bureaucracy, programs are pushed to embrace the goal of delivering capabilities with much faster cycle times, in 1 year or less, while emphasizing and ensuring cybersecurity. Acquisition and sustainment are equally important in providing the required warfighting capability when and where it's needed. Product support bridges the gap between these two critical functionalities. On average, 70 cents on the dollar over the life cycle of a program is spent on sustainment and operations. With this in mind, we must continue to emphasize the importance of designing for sustainment in order to reduce the demand for logistics support and maximize the availability of systems over their long life cycles. In other words, sustainment requirements must be baked into the design of a material solution to deliver long-term operational availability and to better support warfighter requirements. We must transition from reactive maintenance to proactive and predictive maintenance. In August of 2020, my office published a major revision of DoDI 4151.22, Condition-Based Maintenance Plus for material maintenance. CBM Plus is the cornerstone of DoD's strategy to shift weapon system sustainment from reactive to predictive maintenance approaches. It describes diagnostics, prognostics, and health management techniques that program managers and sustainment professionals can design into systems up front to improve operational availability and reduce lifecycle costs. Through a combination of predictive maintenance concepts, enabling technologies and data analytics, CBM Plus strategies will transform sustainment to achieve better performance and affordability. Some of the areas where planning for sustainment is often lacking include acquiring or establishing agreements to access necessary technical data, provisioning and cataloging spares, establishing organic repair capabilities, particularly the commodities workload, on time to ensure operational availability, new or modernized depot maintenance facilities, and equipment that reduce repair cycle times, organic software engineering and testing capabilities, and acquisition of appropriate engineering and logistics data. To mitigate these challenge areas, my office is in the process of publishing the DoD Instruction 5000.91, Product Support Management for the Adaptive Acquisition Framework. This instruction lays the foundation for planning and managing product support in each of the Adaptive Acquisition Framework's 6 pathways. It details the statutory directive and regulatory product support requirements, and it enables tailored product support solutions for each pathway. With the ability to tailor product support solutions, program managers and product support managers are better postured to deliver the designed operational readiness with the lowest operating and support costs. My office is also in the process of standardizing sustainment health metrics across DoD, and is revising the DODI 3110.05 Readiness-Based Material Condition Reporting. This instruction is DoD's authoritative material readiness reporting guidance that standardizes key performance metrics across equipment categories and provides a common framework for measuring readiness. It leverages the collective work accomplished by the services and OSD to reform logistics for better performance and affordability. This and other ongoing initiatives will provide a lexicon and common metrics for measuring and reporting the status of DoD sustainment enterprise weapon systems. Ultimately, these changes will better enable the services to target the most promising systemic cost and material readiness drivers. Much like product support, we need to build cybersecurity into our systems as well. The new DoD instruction for cybersecurity, the DoDI 5000.90, was published on December 31st. We expect the policy to provide the acquisition community consistent guidance to implement appropriate cyber processes and practices for every acquisition throughout the supply chain, regardless of which Aaf pathway is used. Cybersecurity is a foundational aspect of any acquisition, and it cannot be traded for cost, schedule, or performance. Therefore, this new policy will ensure that cyber hardening is designed in at the beginning of a program and ties closely to our Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, or CMMC program. Before closing, I'd like to mention that COVID-19 pandemic necessitated greater visibility into major fragilities in our supply chains, both domestically and with foreign suppliers. Specifically, the pandemic has highlighted the challenge of quickly mobilizing manufacturing for critical items like PPE. The simultaneous scale-up of multiple facilities also exposed bottlenecks in essential production line equipment, such as robotics, actuators, and automation equipment. In particular, it has reinforced that reliance on adversarial countries as suppliers poses potential risk for the department in terms of security of supply for critical items. Should those countries decide to restrict supply to the United States, the DoD would struggle to locate, test, and qualify replacement sources if they even exist. This issue highlights the global and interconnected nature of the supply chain. In order to strengthen the U.S.-based supply chain, leveraging advanced manufacturing will be critical. Accordingly, the DoD has been diversifying our supply chains by partnering with allied nations to utilize or develop capability in those countries and by investing in domestic supply where appropriate. Recently, the President issued 2 executive orders to mitigate supply chain challenges. First, on January 25, 2021, President Biden signed an executive order strengthening Buy American provisions, ensuring the future of America is made in America by all of America's workers. This EO directs agencies to close current loopholes in how domestic content is measured and to increase domestic content requirements. It appoints a new senior leader in the Executive Office of the President in charge of the government's Made in America policy approach, increases oversight of potential waivers to domestic preference laws. It connects new businesses to contracting opportunities by requiring active use of supplier scouting by agencies. It reiterates the President's support for the Jones Act and its mandate that only U.S. flag vessels carry cargo between U.S. ports. And it directs a cross-agency review of all domestic preferences. Second, on February 24th of this year, the President signed the Executive Order on America's Supply Chains. This EO directs an immediate 100-day review across federal agencies to address vulnerabilities in the supply chains of 4 key products: and it calls for a more in-depth one-year review of a broader set of U.S. supply chains. Over the next year, we expect to work in collaboration with the interagency to deepen our understanding and mitigate supply chain risks. In closing, the logistics community plays an integral role in enabling the delivery and sustainment of secure and resilient capabilities to the warfighter and international partners quickly and cost-effectively. The logistics community's deep understanding of the supply chain and the community's insight on the connectivity between the supply chain and the entirety of a platform's life cycle is invaluable. With that, I'd like to say thank you again to LOA for inviting me to speak today, and thank you to all of the logisticians for all you do to maintain our military readiness and keep our nation safe.